You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! It's going to heave one, kick down the field, it's going to be to the goal line, it's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle, it's Corey! It's Corey! Got a touchdown! Corey got a touchdown! Oh my! Corey's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Marvin, he comes back, say goodbye!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
Delatory.
And your boy Jay Scarlett, baby. What's good?
What up, 2-5?
Yes, sir.
I like that shirt you got on, man. That's Fly Gator gear, bro. I like that.
Yeah, yes. Plenty more in the vault, man. I got some stuff I ain't been breaking out in years.
I had to get on him last week because last week he had the lion stuff on last week.
Oh yeah, I did.
I know you spent time with our hometown Miami Dolphins.
I did. I got the gear too, for sure.
Hurt my heart.
I don't wear it on this show, bro. It's okay if you don't wear any Dolphin gear.
Yeah, I was front running a couple days ago. It's all right.
Well, how'd that work out yesterday?
So sad. so sad. But they put up a good game, man. I mean, 90 points in total. Golly, that was just a good game to watch.
I'm appreciative of Tua. I like Tua.
Yeah, I got a love-hate relationship with him.
Yeah,
I got all love.
Yeah.
Shut up with your Jags over there.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. I've had enough of you. We're 16 seconds into the show.
It's all good. We both stink, man. You know, usually it's like, you know, the Dolphins are on a run and y'all just come on here and clown me. But, you know, misery loves company, bro. So I appreciate both teams thinking. How was y'all boys' weekend?
Good, man. Good. I was actually up in Philly this weekend. I went to go see the Steelers versus Philly. A couple of Gator boys on both of the teams. So I went up there to go visit my boy Fred and stayed at his crib. It was a time. Me and my other homie from college went up there and stayed with him.
That's what's up, man. The weather was crazy. Freezing.
I was ready to go, though. I had the gloves on. I had the little ski mask and the big puffer jacket. I was thugging it out there. Just kept getting hot chocolates. And after I was already too drunk. So liquor plus hot chocolate, I can tell you how my night went. But I had a good time overall.
Gloves are key. Like gloves, like a little shiesty.
Yeah.
If my nose and my fingers get cold, then the whole body is cold. So I need like a little shiesty, some gloves.
Well,
Dan knows the vibe. Some Lululemon running gloves.
Right. I do. Nice little view. I was chilling, man.
Yeah, I went to a game there last year. It's not probably quite as cold as it was this time. So, but that's a cool spot to go to. It was in Philly, right? Yeah,
in Philly. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great place to watch a game, and glad you got to go up there, man.
Yeah, a lot of energy, though. A lot of fans. I was just walking around the tailgates, watching people go crazy, just hopping tailgate to tailgate spot. People like, this is a private event. I'm like, man, fly Eagles, fly, man. Hey, be quiet.
Have you Gator tailgated yet?
Nah, that was my first tailgate ever this past weekend. I never been to
we got to get you to a Gator tailgate.
Yeah.
We got to get you a Gator tailgate next fall.
I went to a Gator game like 2 years ago with my daughter, but we wasn't really tailgating. We literally just got there, went straight to the game, and like, you know, just kid stuff just to make it fun for her.
What kind of tailgate are you talking? Are you talking that he can bring his daughter, or we need to arrange mom weekend, a girls weekend?
Yeah, I want the all guys tailgate. I don't want
Florida Georgia. That one then. That's when you do the all guys one, bro. Florida Georgia game is a different animal. But Florida games, like, bring the family. It's a nice wholesome time too. You ain't just gotta do all debauchery, but if you want to get into debauchery, Florida Georgia game is the vibe. 100%.
I'm down. You can knock it out next year.
They have like a straight up like frat row in terms of like tailgating. And it's right by like the media parking lot, so like the media entrance. So like we park a little bit farther away, but it's just like walking through like frat row. It's just every Greek institution at both schools is just like congregated in one spot.
Damn, that sounds
debauchery, baby.
Debauchery.
That was the first tailgate I took my mom to, right? So my mom, that was my mom's first. I didn't know. It was my first Florida Georgia game, so I didn't know how like crazy it got. So we walking, and next thing you know, it turned into like a little mini script show. You know, it got real crazy there, man. How was your weekend, Dan? What you get into, man?
It was good. I went to Orlando. My brother, his wife, and my two nephews were over there they were in Orlando for I think 11 days. So went over there. And hung out with them on Friday night and Saturday, which was great, man. Other than that, pretty low-key weekend. Got a busy week ahead here, and then I'll be down in South Florida for a couple days during the Christmas time. So looking forward to that. So I think this time next week I'll be down there.
Already.
Yeah, man.
I ain't get into a whole lot, man. A lot of rain down here in South Florida. So I just, low-key hung out with my pops. We watched some state championship football. Watch some Gator basketball, chilled around the crib. Then you get into a whole lot, man. Just super low key, just get into that holiday mode, getting ready to go do some Christmas trips. But the eggnog was big. Okay. A lot of whiskey in the eggnog,
Big eggnog.
Big eggnog. Plant-based eggnog, by the way. No dairy.
Plant-based eggnog. There's no eggs. No eggs in eggnog.
Oat milk nog. It's oat milk.
Yeah, I get the lactate one too. That milk will tear me up, boy.
Yeah.
Huh. He says after a weekend of whiskey and hot chocolate.
Right? Oh, trust me, I paid for it. I ain't care to.
That's what's up.
I was up in Atlanta. Yeah. I was up in Atlanta. Quick trip. I was up there with Florida Victorious. We were watching the game. I was worried. I haven't been to a Florida basketball game in probably 8 years because someone I work with has always covered basketball. I do football, baseball. Someone else covers basketball. Team's 9-0, playing a good Arizona State.
Was 9-0.
Was 9-0. Now I'm like, haven't been to a game in 8 years. If they lose today, probably gonna have to ban myself again.
No,
but I'll be back in the building. I'll be back in the building later this year. That was a fun event. Set up in the suites, talked to some of our donors, and good time in Atlanta. Quick trip, got back. I think that was the longest I'd been away from my daughter. So I don't know that I've been like 2 days. So I think it was like a day and a half. You start missing them. Had to get back.
Yeah, it's your daughter, brother. Well, I'm glad you got to go. Big win over Arizona State. We're going to talk to Neil Blackman about the Gators basketball team. They play UNC tomorrow on Tuesday. Then they'll play North Florida and Stetson to close out the year. To close out the 2024 year, and then they'll start SEC play on January 4th. So we're going to talk to Neil. If you didn't listen to last week's show on Thursday, we had Walter Clayton on the show. We talked to him and Core and I talked to him for probably 25, 28 minutes or so. Incredible guy to talk with. Great stories. Answered a lot of fan questions. So go check out the Walter Clayton interview from last Thursday. Probably dropped into your podcast feed on Friday evening. And that was a clerical error on my bad. Should have been in there Thursday night. But anyway, Core, why don't you get us a Brunt ad read, and then we'll get on with the show. A lot of people here in the comments are already yelling about the transfer portal.
Transfer portal updates is on the way. Y'all just vibe out, man. Stadium and Gale is brought to you by the great folks at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Anything you need insured in the Southeast, but most importantly, from the Florida Panhandle to the Keys, my man Greg got you. Home, auto, life insurance, financial services, anything that you may need insured. BruntInsurance.com. Free quote. Or you could give them a call to get that free quote as well, 954-589-2204. Great customer service. When storms and all that stuff is going on, you can always get Greg or his team on the phone call. I use Greg for my homeowner's insurance for years. It's been about 4 or 5 years now, man. Tap in with Greg. Again, the phone number is 954-589-2204. 2204. Big coverage, big policies, baby.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Greg, what it do, baby?
Reach out to Greg. It's a good time. You should be checking your insurance every probably 6 months or so. So go check that out. Go get a quote. It's absolutely free. So again, thanks Greg for sponsoring Stadium and Gale each and every week. A couple of announcements before we get into the transfer portal talk. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe button, hit the comment section. Super chat. That's how you will get your questions absolutely read on the show. If you make us laugh, you will also get read on the show. That means that you have to make Nick or I laugh because Nick has control now, at least for a little while. But before we get into the show, do want to congratulate a few people. A number of Florida Gator football players graduated this weekend, so I'm just going to run through that list real quick. Austin Barber, Damian George, Cam Jackson, Jacoby Jackson, Khalil Jackson, Montreal Johnson, Jason Marshall, RJ Moten, Mark Pitts, Karan Rackley, and Riley Simmons. So congratulations to them. And then also want to give a shout out to Jake Slaughter for being named an All-American. He will be the first returning All-American the Gators have had since Tim Tebow did it in the 2008 season, a return in 2009. And then want to give a shout out to Rocco Underwood, who won the award for best long snapper in the country. We are going to be working with Rocco's schedule to try to get him on the show this week to chat with him a bit more. So again, congratulations to Jake Slaughter, All-American. Although he coincidentally didn't make the All-SEC team that was voted on by the coaches, Rocco Underwood was on that list. But congratulations to Jake Slaughter and Rocco Underwood. All right, gentlemen. The Gators did land a punter. I think we talked about it on the last show, but if not, Tommy Doman has announced that he's going to be transferring to the University of Florida, a Michigan punter. He's going to replace Jeremy Crawshaw. The Gators also did sign Hayden Craig, but they do want somebody that is ready for punting duties on day one. He averaged a 42.6 yards per attempt and a career average of 43.4. 42.6 was last year. So again, comes from the University of Michigan. And so far, gentlemen, that is the only commit. We have 12 days left until the transfer portal is done. So
well, it's not done.
We missed out on a couple, right?
Until 12 days until they can't enter anymore.
Well,
today
also anyone in the playoff, their team, they get time after, they get a week after their last game. So
right.
That's good.
12 full rosters of guys who will have extra time.
We had two guys on our board, our wide receiver board, that we put our offers to that committed before they made it to campus. I think Reggie Virgil. Did he make it to campus? He made it to campus, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
He did make it.
Okay, Reggie Virgil. He ended up committing to Texas Tech on a visit, and also Chase Sewell, who committed to
Iowa State.
Yep. His visit was originally set up for December 21st. He canceled that after he committed. Fans started losing their mind a little bit. No wide receiver is definitely a big need in the portal right now, but I don't think there's a huge need for like panic. I also don't think either one of those kids had. I know we people say this all the time, but we're not going to be, just logically, we're not going to be losing recruiting battles to Iowa State and Texas Tech in my mind. So I think some of these kids that they're offering, you got to be quick with offering to get in it and to be, recruiting these kids. But I don't think they had committable offers or, be able to sign up for us. I think the staff is still weighing out their options on who may be entering the portal. Like you said, if we jump on a Chase Sewell and a Reggie Virgil, and then hypothetically a Cam Coleman enter the portal and you filled up with a bunch of mid, it could get a little weird. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not calling those kids mid, but we gotta weigh that out. Some kids you need to I like both of those kids. I like both of those guys, but it's levels to this, right?
Sounded like you called them MAC players.
That's funny.
They're MAC players, but I think they're talented. They deserve to be, I think, at a higher level of football. Texas Tech, Iowa State are good programs for them, but that just go to show, what type of talent they were. There are some guys out there that I think, we should be after that we haven't got on visits. Guys like Nick Anderson and some other receivers, they seem to be gravitating towards the LSUs and other places of the world, the Texas A&Ms, which is fine. But we have plenty of time in my mind. I think more guys, like you said, playoff teams, bowl eligible teams, as we see today, every time you turn on the internet, it's more kids entering the portal. So I think we're fine right now. We didn't get Bridges. Some of the guys that were like on playoff teams, we didn't get until their teams was done with the playoffs. Asa Turner, Bridges. I think we got Elijah Badger in the second window. We're not a team. I don't want to get long-winded here. I know you guys got to talk as well. We're not a team that needs 100 spots to fill. I think 6 or 7 guys is what we totally trying to get in this process. And you could be a little bit, picky, I think, with those 6 and 7 that you're going to get. You can't be aggressive, and we're not trying to add 10, 12, 15 guys.
Right. Yeah. So let's run through the list here real quick, just so people are aware of some of the names, because there's not a lot out of here. So Chase Sowell, Iowa State, Reggie Virgil, Texas Tech, and then Caleb Odom is probably not going to come to Florida. Those are 3 names that Florida was looking at the wide receiver position. The others are J. Michael Sturdivant. He was on campus. He left on Saturday, I believe, or left on Sunday. He's still going to take a few other visits. Jonte Cook from Texas. He is visiting Washington. There's potential that he might visit Florida after the bowl game. Again, the team is already in Tampa. They arrived earlier today. They're staying downtown, so don't expect anything to happen this week. Nick Anderson, CJ Daniels, and Eric Rivers are those that are in some way somewhat connected to the University of Florida at the wide receiver position. So we don't think that none of them have visits scheduled outside of J. Michael Sturdivant to UF. But those are the only names so far that are connected to the University of Florida. Now, that could be that there's going to be more names entering. We saw a couple names enter today, like Amaris Williams, who is connected to UF last year, or committed to UF last year, pardon me. So over the next couple of days, you will probably still see some more. There's still some bowl games to be played. And then, like Nick said, you can enter until the 28th. But that's the only wide receiver group or names that Florida is so far connected to. Sorry, go ahead,
Nick. Some people in here mentioned Keyshawn Silver.
We're not there yet.
Sorry. Or just taking a receiver. I think there are 2 receivers. Florida can be picky at receiver. I think they would like 2. They'll be fine if they only get 1, but they would like 2. But you can be picky at receiver. And it's kind of like what Corey said. It's like, I think we see, if we're on social media, we see there's nearly 2,000 dudes in the portal right now. It's like we see all these people going in. And you're like, well, why isn't Florida getting anyone? And it's like, well, none of the top guys have really gone anywhere to begin with. I get that you want action, you want news. But I think there's 2 receivers from people I've talked to that are not in the portal that Florida would love if they got into the portal. One of them will be in the playoff as well. So I think the receiver core, I don't agree with Army Sniper. I think the receiver core is room. I think the room is good. You have a ton of talent, a ton of speed in that room. I think you need to get maybe a bigger guy. But yeah, receiver is an easy sales pitch. Like, hey, we need somebody to play outside, and you're going to have DJ Lagway throwing you the ball.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think it's more of a waiting process. We don't know who could be, because obviously watching just college football over the last couple of days, we all know there's some tampering going on. I don't know if we're tampering or what that process may be like, but I think all these staffs know more than the fans know. Like we don't know what their board's like, who may be entering. That's why I try to be slow with some of mine. When it's all said and done, when the portal closed, I have all the opinions in the world, and critique where I need to critique. But until it closes, we don't know what their board and their process is, so we just got to let it play out. That's where I'm at with it for receiver wise. But I think we're finding that room. We do need some size on the outside. I think we need 2 guys instead of, 1. And if we go on to 1, he better be big and a super playmaker. I like it's just health wise, right? So what I like coming back in that room, to me, Mazzell is probably the most dependable guy. And he ain't got a lot of targets and touches. You got Burke and Eugene has been banged up, hasn't been healthy a single season. so you can't really count on him. Just from a depth standpoint, I think we need at least two. I wouldn't mind pushing somebody out and going for 3 at the receiver position, but it's also a position that's loaded in the transfer portal. I think that's the most loaded position. Yeah, so watching everybody else move, I think LSU moved and got CJ Daniels and a bunch of other guys before us last year, and we all panicked. Oh, but those guys are back in the portal, and LSU are going to get another 3-4 more receivers, right? Yeah. So just let it play out. Billy, when he does get receivers, he has a high hit rate.
Yeah, me personally,
that's his background.
I'm really not a fan of the portal. I think we should rock out with our young guys. Billy has shown us that, like, honestly, the young guys can come out and play. So I'm all into developing those guys and bringing. What I like one dude out of the transfer portal, maybe like if we can land a big name, like a big time receiver that's like a big X, like a certified X receiver. I think that's what we are missing from an offensive standpoint. Yeah. But I believe the slot guys we got handled. We got Eugene. We got Vernell Brown coming in. We got dudes that can play inside and actually be a problem. So we're really just missing that X factor. So if we can grab one X factor out of the portal and just rely on our young guys, I got faith in the coaches that thinking that basically our young guys can get it done, because they showed us this year. We had freshmen all over the field making plays. So
I like Tank Hawkins and Abrams as well in that slot. Yeah, we got slot guys for sure.
Yeah, we got slot plays. And we're going to have a run game. We're going to have DJ Ladway running the ball next year too. So, like, not to say it's really not needed, but I'm just not really a fan of the transfer portal, and that, like you said, a dude was just at LSU last year, came from the transfer portal, and he's right back in. Like, you're probably not that good. Just being honest. Like, at some point, you have to look at yourself and realize, like, hey, maybe I'm not this 5-star guy, or maybe I'm not this highly recruited dude that I thought I was. Like, and I don't even want to bring that energy to the locker room. I'd rather rock with the guys that's rocking with us. Like, if we can bring one more addition in at the receiver spot, I can like that, or maybe some interior guys on the O-line and D-line, but for the most part, man, I'm ready to rock out with the guys that's already there.
Let me take us on a detour real quick, Dan. I talked to some of the guys. Jordan, you mentioned the locker room. When the Jack Pyburn stuff came out, what would the locker room reaction be to, hey, so-and-so's asking for guaranteed, snap guaranteed?
I mean, I feel like it'll definitely be negative vibes and negative energies, and like we'll probably want them out, like, because at that point, you kind of think you're bigger than the team. And, like, it's hard to be acting like that when a dude like DJ Lagway is so humble. Guy of the team, he's the big dog. Like, dudes like that being quiet and being humble, I mean, you kind of got to follow suit. That's just our identity of our team. We're some humble dudes that get stuff done. So I'm pretty sure everybody in the locker room was looking at him kind of crazy on, like, who do you think you are for real? So I'm not glad that he left. Obviously, he was a great player, but if that was his attitude towards the whole thing, I mean, we'll see how the chips land at the end of it all.
We'll see him in Baton Rouge next year.
Right.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be tough for him. We get back into the portal stuff. I thought it was going to be tough for him to get back into the locker room. I know there's some people saying that he could possibly come back, but the way it played out, it made it a little tough the way things went down on social media. I know players on the team wasn't feeling it.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was if that laundry was meant to be in the inside washer dryer, or if it was supposed to be out on the clothesline in the front yard. But once that laundry hit the front yard, I think that burned the bridge.
Somebody said one side demanded to play out third down.
Let's just get back in. Any other thoughts on the offensive side of the ball before we get to defense? Just because I want to be cognizant of time here. I mean, I think right now we're incomplete, right? I think there's a lot of people freaking out. I would wager that 1% or less of the audience probably had ever heard the name Reggie Virgil or Chase Sewell before 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So I would say let's pump the brakes on losing Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne in the transfer portal, right? That's kind of where I'm at right now. I think that we're still a ways away from this being done. You can be critical, but I think casting mass assumptions and assertions right now is probably a little premature here. But that's me. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. The offensive side of the ball.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Rounding out offense, I think you could use a tight end. And if you can find a Brandon Crenshaw Dixon type a experienced tackle that you could throw back on the right side, I think that's kind of all they would need on offense.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember a year ago, maybe not quite a year ago, maybe 10 months ago, you were not very high on Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. So
again,
that's not.
I was the mailman delivering news.
That boy,
I didn't want to. I'm not throwing you under the bus here, Nick. What I'm saying is, I think it's important that we, as a fan base and as watchful observers, sometimes we have to say, hey, maybe there's somebody that knows a little bit more, and maybe the NIL demands or maybe the guarantee of where you're at the play chart or on the depth chart might be a little bit different at some schools. And it only takes one school to really love you and to throw some massive amount of money at you. The same reason people here probably have changed jobs in their lives or weren't necessarily looking for a job, and all of a sudden somebody came with a big job offer. It only takes one, and it only takes one school. So I think it's important to use some logic here when we think about some of these players and realize also you're not going to get everybody, right? So I say, hey, let's wait a couple weeks before we freak out, before we wonder where all the NIL money is. I assure you that it's in a good place. Before and I think that like we could probably speak from pretty good knowledge here that we're sitting in a pretty good space from an NIL perspective, right? Like let's just wait a couple weeks before we grade the class on December the 16th at 7:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Listen, we're not eating government cheese over here. We're not asking our head coach to restructure his contract to give us $4.5 million.
Talk that talk, Nicholas.
NIL's in a good place.
Talk that talk, Nicholas. Yeah, offensive overall, it's like you on with you guys. Offensive tackle, maybe a tight end. There was some running back talk out there. That's all rubbish. I know we're not out to no running back. Running back room is super filthy. So yeah, it's not. We can talk defensive side of the ball, but it's not. This is good recruiting and good, program building. These guys, when they got the gig here, they wanted to build a program through high school recruiting. They've done that. You can watch everybody else play, and these teams that are bringing influxes of 10, 12 Porter guys every year, that's not good locker room culture. Jordan can preach to that. He'll let you know, just bringing that many guys in every year is just not going to be good locker room culture. So, and that defense.
Let's get a couple super chats here because they were related to, and then Nick, you starred one of Harrison's comments. I don't know if I want to read that
real
one.
Quick, yeah. While Harrison is in his ivory tower at his chateau in Vale, maybe you can help with the bidding wars, Harrison. Throw a couple bucks our way at Florida Victorious.
It'd be a rounding error. Yeah, it'd be a rounding error.
Rounding error. Maybe it's one less private jet to Aspen from Vale or to Steamboat to Breck. Let's just be a part of the solution.
It's a hell of a headshot he got there, though, man. Like Indy ready for YouTube. AI. Like he went to Hong Kong. Andy.
Shout out to Anthony Beck here. We can't just go after the first options in the portal. It doesn't always work. Got to be patient. Let the staff work. Yeah, no, I think that is 100% true. It doesn't mean that the first people that enter the portal won't be your best options. Doesn't mean that they are going to be the best options, right? You have to evaluate, and it's a game theory, right? So those of you that follow economics and in that world understand game theory. It's about sometimes it's hedging your options and hedging your bets, and sometimes you're going to make the right decision and sometimes you're not. But no, it's 100% right. The portal is still open for 12 more days just to enter your name, and these players can get in. And then Real Army Sniper with, of course, a positive remark said, without DK and Badger this year, the wide receiver room would have been mid. And with them leaving, it's back to mid. Maybe I think that there's, certainly some development. You added some people, and I still think the wide receiver room is incomplete right now. But I think that went back to Nick's comment about the
picture is sorely using there.
That a wrestling guy? I don't know. Let us know, Sorley. I know that's not you.
That was him.
All right, let's we got Neil Blackman waiting. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at, we're going to talk basketball, then we'll get back to the defensive side of the ball, and you guys can continue to air your frustrations and grievances. But we're going to talk about something happy right now. That's Gators basketball. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout. We'll get you 15% off of your order. Home Field Apparel, best vintage logo, softest cotton, great t-shirts, starter jackets, the baseball pullover when they're back in style, or when they're back in stock, pardon me, for the University of Florida, about 100 other schools as well. So go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale. And with that, we welcome attorney and basketball extraordinaire Neil Blackman to the show. Neil, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, guys. What's going on?
Are you broadcasting from a hotel?
I'm in my hotel in Charlotte, okay. So when the Gators play North Carolina, I make sure that I set up client meetings in Charlotte for
big fan of doing that. Multiple people have accused me of traveling for work based around personal things that I want to do. So shout out.
Yeah.
So that's an accusation, or just calling it like we see it. Just calling it like we see it. It's not an accusation if it's true.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Neil, the Gators, we talked to you a few months ago, I think before the season started. You had high hopes for the Gators, and we talked to your podcast host from Florida Gator Basketball Hour before or right as the season was getting started. Now the Gators sit at 10-0, sitting number 6 or 7 in the card, number 7 or number 8 in the country, depending on what poll you're looking at, have won all of their games by double digits this season, including a big win over Arizona State in Atlanta this week. And then we'll play the University of North Carolina tomorrow. Neil, give us kind of the summation of the season so far.
I mean, they're better than we thought they were going to be defensively, and they're as good as we thought they were going to be offensively. And it was funny. You guys had Walt last week, and when we were talking to Walt, right, I think they had played one game, maybe two. But we were talking to Walt, and somebody asked him, well, you guys haven't really been in a physical game yet. It was right before they played Florida State. Oh, the Noles are always physical. They like to muck it up and make the game kind of grimy. And Walt kind of laughed and said, I don't think people understand how physical we are. And he said, ain't nobody going to out physical us. And it was the first time I've heard a Florida player say that in 10 years in the basketball building. And that's not any disrespect to the guys that came before them, but I just think that those three guards, Will Richard, Elijah Martin, Walter Clinton Jr., those are all big, physical, nasty dudes who, Walt, some people think, oh, you're a scorer, you can't be a physical player. He's 6'3", 200 and played DB and liked to hit people. Elijah Martin is 6'2", 220 and ran for 1,500 yards as an option quarterback and liked to lower his shoulder into people. And then Will Richard is 6'5" and looks like a tank. I mean, not the guy. What was the Ray Lewis joke about the guy you don't want to see in the alley? Like, if Will Richard weren't such a smiley, happy kid, he would be the guy you don't want to see in the alley. And those are just Florida's guards. So I think a lot of it is that level of physicality just overwhelms people. And then they've done a couple things from a coaching standpoint that you got to give those guys their flowers. John Andrushak is the defensive coordinator. He changed the way that they guarded pick and rolls. Last year, they dropped almost all their pick and roll coverage. That's fine. But I think the way that basketball is evolving, you can't just defend something one way anymore. Even when you got dudes that can protect the rim or guys that are physical and could tag a roll man, they don't do that. They do a bunch of different things. And then they went out and got Ruben Chinyailu, who I think While he's kind of new to the game of basketball still, hasn't been playing a whole long time. He's a naturally gifted defender and athlete. So I think the combination of the staff's attention to detail and how they've gone about defending and then roster construction is everything in the NIL world, where they're still blending, high school recruiting and then how you evaluate in the portal. And a big thing to Todd, we had him on Florida Basketball Hour, after their first year. And he said, we need to be mindful. We got to go get guys that have multiple years of eligibility in the portal. And that's what they've done. And they've built around that. And he said, we're going to be process oriented that way. We don't want 1-year rentals, because then you can have one good year and your program can stumble. And I don't want that. And they've been mindful and they've done that. So long answer to say this is the roster they built to guard like this. We knew they were going to score, and they score.
How much of that is, you always hear like defense is just attitude or effort. How much of that is a credit to that mindfulness in building a roster? Because you might get 1-year rental guys who are like, hey, I need to put up 25. And if I don't put up 25 a game, I'm not going to get drafted, and I'm not going to waste energy on the defensive end. How much of that is just the way they've built it and having guys who are now program guys, even though they maybe didn't start their career at Florida?
Defense in basketball is suffering, right? I coach, Fawcett coaches, and we've coached high-level teams, whether they're high school teams or, Eric coaches professional players, and defense is suffering. So a lot of defense is effort. Now, like I mentioned, some of their scheme and pick and rolls, but you have to have competitors. I'll use Silk had a tweet the other day about an underrated Gator football player, and it was Antonio Morrison. And it was like, guy's a dog. He just competes.
Yeah.
And so I saw it and I thought, Elijah Martin is kind of like Antonio Morrison on a basketball court. I mean, I don't think people understand what a competitor that kid is. Like he can guard you in a stance. He will fight through a screen. He never goes under a screen. He will either go through it or around it, which takes a lot more work. And he loves a closeout. And those are like 3 things that a lot of players hate. I mean, it is hard to get players to fight through screens. Watch UNC and their ball screen defense. I mean, they are not interested in it. And it's part of why they're 6-4 with as much talent as they have. But, Elijah is kind of that consummate competitor on the floor with Will and Walt. And Walt would tell you, he heard it from NBA guys, right? He went to his NBA interviews going through that process, and they said, Walt, you got to guard better, buddy, because we know you could score, and your role in the NBA is come in and play 15 to 20 minutes and score, but you have to guard well enough in that league to get on the floor. There's this myth that they don't play defense in the NBA. Some of that has to do with how the game is officiated, and there's lots of problems with the NBA right now, right? For sure. But there's still what these franchises are looking for, and they want Walt to defend. And then with Will, he was always a good help defender. He was willing to kind of dive down and help the bigs. Wasn't great in the stance. Much, much better this season at defending on the ball. And again, I mean, Will would tell you a lot of it is what he heard from scouts. So some of it is effort, and some of it is these guys are playing their last year of college basketball, and they're playing to make money, whether it is a lot of money in Europe or in Walt's case, I think probably, a very good chance to get a 2-way deal.
What do you I know we've been blowing everybody out. It's been ugly, and I appreciate them games as well. It's been just good basketball, like you said, both ends of the court. Super impressed with their length. I think that's one of the things that help them with defense as well. And I see teams try to drive on us, man, it's just not easy to score at the cup. In a close game, is it, if we got a last shot, is it give Walt the ball and get out the way, or what do you think Golden calls in that type of situation when we do have a close game?
I think they'll have a close game tomorrow because, I made fun of North Carolina a little bit, and it's true they don't guard that much. I assure you that they're working on that. But their losses are all to really good teams. So they're 6-4. Every team they've lost to is ranked. And also it's basically a road game here tomorrow in Charlotte for Florida. So I would expect Florida to get tested and pushed. And to answer your question, I would say it's probably Walt and get out of the way, space the floor and let Walt attack. They may run Walt off a screen. He's shooting 47.5% from 3 off screens. That's pretty lethal. And then the other guy to kind of look out for in that moment would be Elijah Martin if they can get him downhill. You're not going to put him in like a pick and roll and say, hey, go cook one-on-one with some guy. That's not going to work. But if you can get him off a screen and get him to straight line drive at somebody, again, that's that football player mentality where if he gets his shoulder down, I mean, he's, if you're 6'2", 220, not many people want a lot of that when you're headed straight at him. So he's a tough deal. He's a load. I would say he would kind of be your other option at the end of a game.
That's like if Jordan Scarlett had any kind of shot.
That's it, man. It is different. Like if you go to, now that you're doing Florida Victorious stuff and you're Mr. Basketball sitting in the suites, Nick, like
I was worried.
You come to come to some of this media stuff and you'll see Elijah Martin and you'll be like, does that guy play running back? Like, what's his? I mean, he is a chiseled dude. Yeah. Mississippi tough, man.
Is the SEC far and away, the better league than the ACC now at this point? What's your opinion?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I did an article about it at Saturday Down South. Talked to a lot of people. And, everybody says, oh, it's the football money. And yes, it is the football money. It's also that, 10 years ago, they called Billy Donovan and John Calipari and they said, how can we get better at basketball? And Billy said, well, you guys got to get better coaches in this league. Candidly, he said that the coaching in this league is not as good. The practice facilities, he said, meaning Florida, he said, Kentucky, and Arkansas have nice practice facilities. Nobody else has good facilities. That was 10 years ago. Now that's not the case. So all of it was built up because SEC Network had all this programming to fill, right? And so if you got 3-4 months of programming where you can put basketball on, live TV is good programming. So they knew that they needed to start winning these games to get better. So it's been kind of this slow build. And now I don't think it's going anywhere, especially with the House settlement. Once revenue sharing starts, forget about it. Like the SEC is not going anywhere in this sport. And the schools that are committed to winning, forget it.
The same thing is happening with baseball. I think it was just like basketball is definitely more popular than baseball. But once you could start watching the games and seeing them and you didn't have to read a box score the next day, I think the popularity increased. But then you saw the Alabama goes out and gets who was the coach they got? They got a former NBA coach years ago. It didn't work out, but you started seeing SEC teams that weren't Florida and weren't Alabama start to pour money into the programs. But yeah, I saw somebody today on Twitter saying that, the ESPN is pushing the SEC as a basketball conference, and then it just got ratioed. Absolutely ratioed because I think even the numbers back it up, and you don't think of the SEC as a basketball conference, and it won't be because football is so good. But certainly the basketball has gotten tenfold better than it was, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah, the SEC is 57-19 against. So in basketball, there's a Power 5 because of the Big East, but they're 57-19 against the Power 5. They are 89-2 in home games so far this year, which I think is just ridiculous. Yeah, and they've lost one bye game. North Florida made 17 threes on opening night and beat South Carolina. That's it. Every other bye game has been a dub for the SEC. Their overall record is 183
Thank you to BKP, Avery Johnson.
Yeah, Avery Johnson. And now, just a testament to that, right? They went out, got Avery Johnson. Well, last year, Alabama lost in the Final Four, and they finished 102nd in defense last year in the country. And so Nate Oates, their head coach, went back and said, I'm going to change up some things on my staff because we will never again at the University of Alabama, when I'm the coach, finish 102nd in defense. So what did he do? He went out and hired a defensive coordinator from the NBA who had won an NBA title as his defensive coordinator. People are serious. This is not juvenile stuff anymore, man. Like, everybody like, oh, we're going to roll the ball out. We'll sell out one game a year when Kentucky comes to town. And maybe we'll win that game every now and then, every 4 years. It is not that league anymore. So you have the quad system where you quad one, quad two. Every SEC road game right now is a quad one opportunity. Every one.
Before the year, I read Todd. He said that they could be a 3 or 4 seed, and obviously Todd, confident guy. At the time, we're probably thinking 3 seed. That's ambitious of you, Todd. It's super early right now. We're in December. March is far, far away. But the way Florida plays, and I guess we'll get a pretty good test. They have Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama pretty early on. But right now, the way Florida's constructed, the way they're playing, and knock on wood, health-wise, was Todd on to something?
Yes, if they win tomorrow, they're going to go 13-0 in non-conference. And I think at that point, if they just went 10-8 in the league, they get a 4 seed. At worst, a 5 seed in that scenario, depending on how that 10-8 shook out. So yeah, I mean, I think he's onto something. I think because Auburn is so good, I think 14-4 probably wins this league. But I would not be stunned at all if the SEC champion were 13-5. Like, it's going to be that. It's going to be that bloody. It's going to be the Barzinis at a Long Island Causeway toll booth with Sonny Corleone in league play.
Wow,
it's not
great reference.
That's
great reference.
Fantastic reference. That's why they pay you the big bucks over there.
This is why Neil asked for such a large fee to come on our podcast.
That's it.
And we pay it in cash.
Got the NIL money. Billy's buyout still laying around.
Neil, we're realistically, right? I mean, we've watched Florida win by double digits in every game. They've beaten some quality opponents. Where do you think this team right now, if you were to stack rank them? I think they're 3rd in the SEC right now in terms of rankings. Where do you think, if you were to prognosticate, because that's why we brought you on here and paying you the big bucks to prognosticate here, where are you looking in March where the Gators probably finished?
I did a video for our subscribers over at Florida Basketball Hour, and I ranked Florida. I got ambitious and ranked Florida 4th.
Okay.
And I almost ranked them 3rd. And what I said was I'll rank them 3rd if they beat North Carolina and Charlotte, because that would really impress me. Because I think you're going to have 17,000 Tar Heels and 2,000 Gators in that building tomorrow, and that's tough. But yeah, I like the makeup of Kentucky, but I like Florida's talent better. So I think Florida has a very, very good chance to finish 3rd or 4th in this league. And if they didn't play, if the schedule didn't shake out the way it did, where Florida got kind of a raw deal on road games, because they don't get a game at home with Auburn, and they don't get a game at home with Alabama. And I think that makes it hard to say 2nd, right? Because if you were hosting those teams, maybe you flip one of those games. But those are going to be two environments that are going to be very difficult for Florida to win in. But I think 3rd or 4th place finish is very possible. And then that, to Golden's point, then you're in 3 seed territory, even 2 seed territory if you finish third.
Yeah, we must have pissed off somebody in the scheduling department in football and basketball this season. I don't know who we made mad, but hopefully next year.
The SEC mad at Florida? Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Put your tinfoil hat back down, Dan.
We're everybody's favorite in Birmingham. You know this.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Neil, I think that's a good stopping point, man. Big game against UNC tomorrow night. You can catch that game live on the television. I will tell you what channel.
Will you be there, Neil?
But I don't know. Neil will be there.
I will be there.
That's why he's in Charlotte, Nick. Did you not listen to the very beginning of this call?
What show were you on, man?
I know he ain't in the whole. I know he don't live in the hotel.
Neil,
I appreciate you guys.
For the 3 of us that listened to your entire interview, and Nick, we appreciate you coming on today. Let everybody know where they can find you online, and Neil has a great podcast as well.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Neil Blackman, you read my stuff at Saturday Down South at NW Blackman on Twitter. And yeah, be sure to check out Florida Basketball Hour. You don't have to, subscribe to our Patreon to listen. You can. You get a lot of film study and higher level basketball chat that way. But you can listen to our pod and hit subscribe, star on Spotify, whatever. All that stuff helps. So thanks guys for having me, and keep pumping sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already, baby.
So far, not
I always have.
Awesome, Neil. We appreciate it, man. Hey, enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy your trip, and we'll talk to you in the next couple of weeks. Neil Blackman, one of the best knowers of Florida Gators basketball out there. So him and Eric Fawcett, who has been on the show numerous times as well, do host a great basketball podcast that certainly break down the game a little bit better, at least than I can. Can't speak for everybody else, but
you be right.
Let's get a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. I was just talking to Tyler, the CEO. He said you guys are crushing the promo code, so keep using that. Get yourself a gift for a friend, family, loved one, coworker, client, whatever it might be. GameTimeSidekicks.com. Personal note, we hosted a golf tournament this past Friday. My company did, and they were able to sponsor one of the holes in one of the gift bags. So shout out to Tyler, and got great compliments from the winner of that about the other product and everything else. So this isn't just me talking and just us who are paid to talk about it. It's the users of the product. So go check them out, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Promo code Stadium15 will get you 15% off of your order. I forgot to tell you that we won our golf tournament. So shout out to my team of ringers that carried us along the way. Before we get into the defensive side of the ball, Nick, do we know the uniform combo for this game? Russell Swick is asking.
I just fired off a text, so I will let you know. Not surprised that Dan's potentially cheating golf foursome won the tournament.
Nope, not cheating. It's called stacking your team with those that are better than you.
It's not cheating. It's enhancing your percentages of winning.
Well, no, it's a
multiple mulligans.
So it's about having good friends that are very good at golf that can augment your game better than you can augment their game. You know what I mean? So this is a team sport of golf when you play in a foursome. So shout out to me for winning. Won a ugly Christmas jacket and in lieu of a green jacket. Nick, and that invite for you to see the green jacket in person at the Masters next year is diminishing.
It never came.
It's diminishing by the comment. All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball before we lose Nick here. So on the defensive side of the ball, I think it is important to mention Jack Pyburn, if you did not know, is going to LSU on the defensive side of the ball. So we lose him. But on the defensive line, Kelby Collins is taking some visits. But Keyshawn Silver visited UF on December the 10th. We talked about that last show. He visited on Tuesday. Then he visited Miami, then USC, then Michigan. Corey, I know that you have some thoughts on maybe what USC's been doing since his visit. But James Thompson is another name on the defensive line from Wisconsin. He is visiting Tennessee yesterday and Oklahoma State on the 19th. So, Corey, we'll start with you. Thoughts on the defensive line, and then feel free to expand it to however you want on the defensive side of the ball.
I kick a defensive line. Silver is a big, I think high priority in my opinion. We need a nose guard, nose tackle, however you want to call that position. We need a nose tackle big time. We're losing Cam Jackson, Big Dez. We need guys to come in that room to play immediately. I went back and watched this game against us last year. To be honest with you, wasn't that excited about what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Playing against him. I thought we handled him pretty well. But, I think he fits well into our defense, and what's out there in the portal, he's going to be one of the top guys when it pertains to defensive nose tackle talent. There been some numbers put out there about him saying he wanted, 8-7 figures, and that's not what I heard. This is not what I heard. I heard the numbers lower than that. We'll see how it all plays out. He's been very secretive on his end, or very quiet, I would say, with how he's handling the visits. He's handling like I think transfer portal guys should. Like, these are grown men, these aren't kids. So he's super quiet. He just posts one picture when he gets on campus. That's it. His camp, his agency is not saying a whole lot. He just wrapped up his Miami trip actually today. And then from what I'm reading, next 48 hours, we'll start seeing, what's his decision and how things are going to play out. I think defensive end is another spot that we need, one guy. I don't think we need a whole lot there. You get somebody also to probably replace Piber and him hitting the portal. But I don't want to jump into the secondary and get too ahead of myself. But that's how I see the D-line room as of now.
Yeah. We can get into the –
Let me add this real quick, Dan. I have the scholarship chart.
Okay.
That might help us. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we need to improve that D-line, though. You use them on more interior guy for sure.
Yeah. All right. So that's where we're at, defensive line. Caleb Banks returning. That's a huge transfer portal or non-graduate situation, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
you won Caleb Banks, you won Jake Slaughter. Those are a couple wins for those of you looking for wins. They both could have gone pro.
Yeah, easily.
You get Jamari Lyons back. So go ahead, Nick.
I think when you start looking at those numbers, I think you'd like another nose tackle. Obviously, Keyshawn Silver. And my spidey senses start tingling when it's a guy going into his fourth year and looking for his third school. Start to think maybe we're looking for bags more than anything else. But he's. I want to know what Jordan Scarlett would have done in the NIL and transfer portal era. I can see my guy in 4 jerseys.
Nah, I wouldn't have did it like that.
Four jerseys, 5 chains.
Maybe 5 chains.
A couple carrots in his earlobes.
For sure. I definitely would have had a Cuban link on me, but not 4 schools. Like, God.
But when you look at the defensive line, you get Jamar Lyons back, Mekhi Barrows back, DeAndre Robinson's back. It'd be interesting to see what some like Shivers can do, looking at guys in the interior. And then that edge room, we talked about it a little bit too. Like, I think the edge room's fine with or without Jack.
Definitely.
You get Sap Gums.
Well, it's without
Cam
Jack,
James. I said with or without Jack.
Yeah. I'm just saying it is without. So that you don't have to say the with. It's kind of Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I'm not trying to be critical.
You let your ass have it.
A little hostile. So I think you need some more depth. Obviously, we've seen guys can get hurt at that spot. Caleb Banks missed most of the FSU game. Jamari Lyons missed the whole year. You need some more depth there, but I think in terms of front line, you're all right on the defensive line and that edge. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what LJ McCray develops into. He only got a little bit of run as a freshman. But like Neil was saying about Elijah Martin, like when you stand next to LJ McCray, that's a 19-year-old grown ass man.
Yeah. I sort of feel the same way I felt about offense, man. I'm going old school with it. I trust the guys we got in the building for the most part. Like, can we use an interior D lineman because we just lost 2 good guys? Yes, I think we can, but we really don't know what's in the vault. We don't know what freshman has been in the weight room all year, ready to have a breakout day, whether they got a new incoming guy coming just like literally getting on campus like high schooler. Like, one of those D linemen may pan out to be something. So
yeah,
I think we should just pump the brakes on all the transfer portals, and I think we should just believe in the guys we got, man. I got faith in them. They proved us right last year. We was out there winning with young talent. Like, I was surprised by it because at first I was like, we got a young team. I'm not really sure how good we're going to be this year, and they surprised me a lot. So I'm rolling with the young Bucks. I'm rolling with Billy over there, man. I got faith in what he got going on. I think he'll get this defense right. I think Florida has never had a problem with making defenders look better and having a great defense. So that's never going to change for us as long as we keep that identity and we got the right coaches over there to kind of keep that mentality going. So I'm all confident.
We got to talk coordinator as well, but I'm just from a just number standpoint, I think we're a little thin at nose tackle. That's all. So I think we do need, I like the talent. I think they recruit and they evaluate the position well. But I think we could get thin, and if you start losing people, it could get like a couple years ago when we was putting Tyree Sapp at defensive tackle. We don't want to run into that problem again.
Right.
Bro,
you only have
Sapp got a nose tackle snap 2 years ago.
That's wild.
Nasty.
You only have 36 names on the defensive side of the ball, so you definitely need some more in terms of probably some, at least to elevate the floor of what you have, and that does not include Shamar James making his decision on what he's going to do, potentially Devin Moore as well, what he might do, and then Tyreek Sapp, what we think he's coming back, but we're still waiting on that formal announcement from him too. So worst case scenario, you lose those 3, you're down to 33. So you probably need, in my opinion, at least 1, if not 2 on the defensive line. Edge, if you can elevate, great. If not, I think you're fine there. Linebacker, I think Florida's fine, in my opinion. I do think at the cornerback position, they could potentially use a body or 2 there. And then certainly you're losing Triquez Bridges. If you can, elevate Aaron Gates into that starter role, but do you have that next person in line there? So there's definitely some opportunity to go in the transfer portal and get some names. But if you look at the list of names that Florida's offered, you got Keyshawn Silver, James Thompson, we've already talked about. Potentially, they've even offered James Thompson Jr. yet. The other names at edge, outside linebacker, Amaris Williams, transferring from Auburn, would have 3 years to play. He was in that class. And then Nathan Johnson from Appalachian State is in there. No offers, no visits playing inside linebacker. Haven't offered anybody. They've offered, nope, they haven't. They're kind of keeping their eyes out for a guy named Jaden Lawton from Tyler Junior College, who would have 2 years to play at cornerback. And then safety, we've talked a little bit about this, and we're going to mention his name, is Zachariah Poyser, who's visited on 2 days ago on Saturday, and he's got visits planned to LSU. Already had that. Auburn already had. Georgia already had, and then Miami.
He's announcing tomorrow.
Wednesday.
I thought he was announcing Wednesday. Yeah, so he's going to announce Wednesday. So that's the only person that Florida has offered outside of Keyshawn Silver on the defensive side of the ball. So either they feel confident and they're taking the Jordan Scarlett approach, or they're in the wait and see approach of who else might enter the portal there as well.
Today I learned that Jordan Scarlett would abolish the transfer portal if he was the college. Bro, he would just close that.
No cap, man. I feel like if you ain't no big time started up trying to grab, I ain't really too impressed with it, just being honest with you. Because I'm just thinking of it from a player's perspective of like, if I'm like that and I know like I'm at a university already where I'm going to get the money for real, why am I leaving? I guess for more money if you really want to say that, but you about to get more money through NIL deals if you keep balling and or when you go to the league. So you're leaving for another reason. I don't know what it is, but I'm not sold on trying to spend millions of dollars to find out. You see how Florida State lived that one down.
Yeah.
Bust a bag for a trash bag. That's what you did.
Before our eyes, we were watching a young man who we watched as a 17-year-old in high school become an old head.
Right,
he's just grumpy on the front porch, shaking his fists at these young whippersnappers getting in the portal.
Get off my Gale Lemerin drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder like how they play this out because like you got guys potentially that may declare. Shamar, Devin, like that's another thing
let's
too.
Let's talk about that real quick. Like Devin, the only thing NFL teams are going to want to see is him be healthy. He's been healthy for less than 50% of the games in 3 years. Can he stay healthy, or is he just saying like, "Hey, listen, I'm probably going to get hurt next year, and then I'm a year older and hurt again. Like maybe I just dip." Like I don't know where he would be drafted because he literally the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been that.
Yeah, draft.
But like I think he should come back. I think he needs to come back to show that he can stay healthy.
Yeah,
if he's back, then that room's fine.
Yeah,
I think Shamar's a good player, but like, is he a special teams guy? Jordan will tell you, like, if you're a 2-down linebacker in the NFL right now and you can't play special teams, you better be really damn good. And I don't know if he's a true 3-down linebacker at the next level. We've seen him play a little bit, and he is athletic, but is he covering Brock Bowers? Because he didn't when they played Georgia. And that's the kind of tight end they have in the NFL. So I think Shamar should come back, but we're in the port. It's the portal's open, so it's time to talk about Shamar. Every time the portal's open, we talk about him.
Yeah.
I think Shamar need to either declare or, I don't think Porter should be his move, man. Protect your legacy a little bit there. But back to DB, if Devin's going, then you got to be prepared to go get a guy in the portal. But if he's sitting tight, I like that room. I think we're fine there. And then we could talk about the safety room as well. Aaron Gates, I don't know health-wise, is he going to be ready to go next fall? I do like the freshman that we brought in. Gregory Smith started showing some flashes toward the end of last year, getting some minutes. Love Bryce Thornton. I would like to see Sharif Denson, or Aaron Gates start playing a little bit more safety to get us a little bit more flexible at that spot. But I think that's a room you need to add a guy, one veteran good guy that you may need if we got the one guy that we're talking about, but I think they want him at nickel, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's probably looking towards Aaron Gates' health if I'm just reading some tea leaves there. But I think we need a little bit more flexibility and just one more older guy if Aaron Gates is not going to be healthy next fall, right? In my opinion. But I do think Lagunza, Hayward, and Stubbs are two guys that can play early, and I think they will play early.
Yeah, so we will wait on Zachariah Poyser. That will be on Wednesday, and then we will wait with bated breath. Well, some of us will be waiting for bated breath for those that enter the transfer portal, and Jordan will be telling you, stay where you're at.
Are we anticipating TJ seriously jumping into the transfer portal? There's been a lot of smoke about him in that capacity.
I think we won't
Elephant in the room.
We won't know until after the bowl game.
Okay. That's respectful of him.
I will not be surprised either way.
Okay.
The money's good here, but like Jordan is saying, the money's good everywhere.
Yeah, when you only really need one school, right? And maybe the symptom is not the cause, right? And maybe the symptom is you do want to make more money, but also the cause is like, hey, maybe we're going to talk about him in a second. Maybe the guy you liked on the defensive side of the ball is gone, or maybe you don't get along with your head coach. And this is conjecture. I'm not saying that this is how he feels. And it only does take one relationship or one school to offer a boatload of money or something different that you might be looking for. So those are all things that we'll hear. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It would stink, I guess, on paper. But in terms of production, really. No, just on paper. Right. Yeah. No, but in reality, and maybe from an optics perspective, but from a production perspective, it's not like it's this huge hole. We just remember the name when he was being recruited by Alabama and Georgia and those schools.
Yeah, that room great kid, and he's going to be a good player. But look, like I think we're about to say this, Corey. Like, look at that room. That room's fine.
That competition is about to be heated in the spring. Like, it's a fight for reps in that room, and it's gonna bring out the best of the LJ McCrae's, the 5-star, who's a superstar in that room. But we all love George Gums. We all love Cam James, was flashing, out the wazoo towards the end of the season, man. Tyreek Sapp. We just got gangsters in that room. The young boy Jayden Woods that we got in, people in the recruiting world speak very highly of that kid, man. So it's these guys still want to go to the NFL, so it ain't just about NIL checks. But if I get even if I'm getting the same check somewhere else, and I can get more reps, then I got to go get more reps because it's a lot of pressure buzz pipes, or it makes diamonds, and we're gonna find out here a little bit. We had one pipe already bust, and I think we're gonna have another one bust, man.
We based on what you just said, I think we found out who was advising Jack Pyburn.
Hey, go secure the bag if you can get it, right? If somebody's going to give it to you or give you the opportunity, right? Like the NFL money is bigger than any bag that you're going to get, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if there's people that have taken less money in NIL to give themselves a better opportunity to make that shot, right? Because at the end of the day, most of these kids aren't making forever life-changing money. Some of them are, but most of them are making pretty similar amount of money. That is certainly awesome when you have it in college, and certainly glad that they have the opportunity now. But if they get a chance to be number one on that depth chart,
right,
that's going to speak volumes to a kid, when that extra $10,000 or $20,000 that you might offer in NIL really is a drop in the bucket when you think about opportunity and opportunity cost.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree with Silk though. Like if Devin Moore dips, like that cornerback room gets a little funky. I think Aaron Gates is going to be out a while with his knee, but they love Lagonza Hayward. Talking with the coaching staff, asking them like, "Hey, who are these? Who are a couple guys that you're really excited about?" Hayward was one, and Ty Jackson at linebacker was another. They told me just straight up like, hey, just throw the tape on, and Ty Jackson's everywhere. Like that is an athletic, physical linebacker.
That's what we do in Palm Beach, man. We play football around here, Nick. I don't know if they told y'all, man, but it's a physical brand of football around here, bro.
Well, that's weird because I just watched St. Thomas Aquinas absolutely smack Lakeland last week.
Well, that's neither one of which is in Palm Beach County. That's
not us. We wouldn't allow that type of nonsense. We won't go down like that.
Smack them.
Do you know where
Lakeland here to talk about it?
Is that Pasco County?
No, it's Polk County.
My God, bro!
That's about 3 hours drive from Palm Beach County, which I believe is what Corey
Lakeland.
It's on the west. It's on the west. Yeah, it's like I tried to forget about Lakeland. Lakeland was not good to me during my time.
Absolutely bonkers. This guy is a native Floridian, went to college. He went to college, Corey, 45 minutes away on a good traffic day. An hour and a half.
When is there a good traffic day in Orlando?
County. But I'll tell you what, having drove to Orlando on Friday, it took me 2 hours and 16 minutes. I was talking to my brother on the way. He's like, I thought you lived like an hour away. I'm like, I live 71 miles away, and this is how long it's going to take me.
Yeah,
highway to hell. Shout out to the chat for clowning on Nick with me today.
I was a geography minor.
There's no, you didn't even know.
It wasn't. All right.
Let's get into some other news here. Austin Armstrong, the Gators co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach, departed on this weekend to head to the University of Houston. I believe that's where Lil Wayne graduated college from, but went over to the University of Houston. Probably not a surprise. We knew that room.
Master P graduated there, not Lil Wayne.
Make him say, Lil Wayne says something about the University of Houston after I passed my test. So he was a student there at one point. Going deep bars back then. Anyway, so Austin Armstrong, we thought, there's certainly a crowded spot there at the co-defensive coordinator position. You're the defensive coordinator, and then they hire your old teacher, if you will, to be the linebackers coach and then co-defensive coordinator with you. And then it's our assumption that Ron Roberts called the plays for much of the season here. So, guys, your thoughts on Austin Armstrong leaving? And this certainly doesn't mean that it's Ron Roberts' job going into next season either. There's still more announcements probably to be made, but Austin Armstrong leaves. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're getting closer to an actual staff model. You know, we got 2 offensive line coaches, 2 offensive coordinators, 2 defensive coordinators. Like now we got 1 defensive coordinator. As of now, we'll see how it all shakes out. I didn't like the hire when they first made. I thought he was too young. I think Houston's a good spot for Armstrong. You know, to call defense, get some reps. You know, as a caller. I think the league was just too much for him. Safety coach, I would like to, somebody that actually plays safety to coach that spot. No shots at him. It's just like I just want somebody that played the position to maybe coach
That's a
it.
repeat of I'm not calling them mid. But
Nah, I'm buying what you're selling though. I'm all about that. You can know football a lot, but at the end of the day, it's just certain shit you had to have done before at some point.
Looks a little bit more like Jordan or Corey and a little less like me. I get it.
So I'll be the cornerbacks coach and Dan will coach safeties next year.
I just need a safety coach that, that roamed the safety position at one point in time, man. We'll see how it all plays out, but I think it's an opportunity to upgrade the staff. And, Billy been speaking about that whenever he's speaking to BD about just evaluating the entire team and just like they evaluate the players. So I think that's a spot where we can get better at. I like Will Harris. I think he does a very good job with the DBs, but, if we got a guy, Armstrong, he's on the roster, if he's in charge of safeties. Yeah.
They, I wonder how much change there's going to be. Anytime Dan Mullen is a head coach, Billy Gonzalez seems to follow him.
I was about to say, you hit it right on the head, Nick. That's definitely going to happen.
Somebody told me, they're like, no, Billy's a Florida guy. He was at Florida before Dan. And I'm like, and went to Starkville, Mississippi, and left Urban to go follow Dan. Don't tell me he's a Florida guy.
Well, no, he left LSU. He left Nick.
My fact might be
Urban Meyer to go to LSU, and then he left LSU to go to
Percy Harvin sent him packing.
Oh, that's what it was.
You remember he left a Post-it note on the desk and was out.
I think him and Dan are really boys, and I won't be surprised if he over there in Vegas in a few weeks.
His contract is
I'll help him pack.
January 31st, 2025.
January 31st. Okay. Do we know who else is? And I know that Florida doesn't do a great job of sharing this. Do we know who else's contracts are up? I know we have to do some FOIA stuff for that.
Yeah, Armstrong was up. I think Russ's contract is up. I think he'll be retained.
Call cider, baby.
You think he'll be?
I believe he'll be retained. Yes.
I need him to find
Rob Sales' contract is up. I don't know if they've. So also, this is I got the contracts like we got. When they gave us like Mark Hockey's original contract, by the time they got it to us, he had already signed a new one and had signed like an extension.
Is his contract up?
His contract is up.
His contract is up. Okay. Because I'm tired about people complaining about his contract when they're not the ones paying the bill, but I'm tired of people asking about whether he's still on staff.
Yeah. There's a lot of complaining about how other people are spending money.
Yeah.
It's our money. It'd be like both of ours, but you're keeping it in your bank account tight,
Yeah,
that type of vibe. No, I wouldn't be bad. Like I think it's just a time. I think Billy ends up out there. Maybe Dan offer him OC, but contracts are up. It's an opportunity for the University of Florida to upgrade. It's just gonna be interesting to see who Billy Napier hires because he don't have the greatest of job security. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he upgrades or how he fill these spots out, but we haven't heard any extensions.
There's a lot of talk about when is he hiring the offensive coordinator, and I said this last offseason. You just brought up his job security. If my job is on the line, am I going to get fired because I gave it my best effort, or am I going to go tell somebody, hey, I need you to come here and call plays?
I got one.
If you don't do it well, then we're both going to be packing, and we're both going to be looking for a new job. I don't see him putting his fate into somebody else's hands. He likes breaking down film. He likes scheming. He likes calling plays. He's going to continue calling plays.
I think he's gonna have to delegate this year, and I think we see that happen. Until I don't see it happen, I think he's gonna have to delegate. But I propose this to you, Billy, if you're listening. If you're not listening, somebody on your team's listening. I know.
Yeah, no, he's over across the street right now, probably at the bar.
Yeah, go grab him.
Yeah, go
check this
out
real
quick.
I don't think he wants to see me anymore.
The JW Marriott, man, come on. We can make amends.
On Saturday on your ride back, I know you probably listening to this, or somebody on the team is listening to this. Call Dan Mullen and propose a trade of, the go-go offense with Brendan Marion for Billy Gonzalez.
Pipe dream.
Not gonna happen.
I think Brendan Marion. That's
Brendan
what
Marion would
I'm
love it. Yeah, would love it. Brendan Marion.
You want to know where I think Brendan Marion goes? I think he's going to become the new head coach at Wake Forest University.
Brendan Marion would go to Wake Forest, be the head coach before he went anywhere. Brendan Marion,
well, obviously,
to be a head coach.
Yeah, I think that he's going to become the head coach at Wake Forest. Dave Clawson stepped down today, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
You think they call Marion?
Right?
I think they call Hartline before they call Marion. It's interesting. I haven't seen
Brian Hartline would go to Wake Forest.
Get Brian Hartline out of Ohio and let's get weird.
I'm trying to like throw that energy out there.
Yeah. No, they should definitely call Brian Hartline first. And they got a rich alumni base. They should go ahead and just get Brian Hartline over to Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And then when that doesn't work out there, he can come to UF. Be my offensive coordinator.
I like that one as well, bro. We'll see how it all plays out. But I do think he delegates some play calling. I think he just has to elevate, and I'm gonna judge the staff and their changes to that type of how they approach, their new regime, because this is a chance to reset the board a little bit. So I'm gonna judge them how they reset this board, and I think he needs to delegate, man. That's just what it is. That's what college football is going to, man.
Do you think he does, or you want him to, and it makes you feel good to say that he's going to?
I think all the smart coaches are doing it. Kirby Smart is one of the best defensive ball coaches in football. He delegates his defense. So if Kirby can do it, like all the top guys, you look around. They're
not really answering the question I asked. Do you think he's going to, or do you want him to?
I like bully ball. I think he's getting bullied. I think bullying works sometimes. So I think a part of keeping his job was, hey, buddy, you want to stay here or you want to hit Indeed? If you're going to stay here, delegate the play calling.
What's the hit Indeed?
Let's see. Tez Henry.
I like him as a CEO too. Just put that out there. I like Billy as a CEO. I like the culture of the team he's putting together. I see the vision, but not until the plays get called. He called that double, triple reverse. We got 3rd and 1. I just be like, I don't know about that, Billy. But everything else I like.
Running on 3rd and 8 to set up a 4th and 4. Let's see. Tez Henry, do we think that Bill Belichick will take Florida special teams coach? Good question. Don't know.
He already called. And I don't think
we're keeping the mat.
And I don't think Joe Houston is going to Chapel Hill.
Shout out to Joe Houston.
Bro, the mat stays. And to hell with you guys for clowning on the mat. Coach Matt was fantastic all year.
Call Brian Johnson. I don't think Florida and Brian Johnson are compatible offensively right now. No. Jordan would know.
Yeah, Jordan no, sir. That's my dog. I love him, but no.
I mean, you got to think about it, right? Like, as much as we love some of these names, especially from a looking back and be like, wow, that was great. Like, Brian Johnson's doing all right. I know that he wants to be in the NFL. He's got an opportunity to potentially position himself. I know it didn't necessarily work out the first time in Philadelphia being the offensive coordinator, but to get an opportunity to get that, Yeah, and then, maybe become a head coach one day. So I don't think that Brian Johnson's offense, nor do I think that Brian Johnson has a deep desire to come back to University of Florida to be Florida's OC right now, and probably a step down from being the assistant head coach and passing game coordinator for the Commanders.
That's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn went and got like the whole gang back together. Got Dante Fowler killing it.
Hey, he did. He brought the whole gang over there.
Got Big Sharif's on his team. Oh, I just sent that. That was a name. I was late. It was one of my tabs, but it was when we were back talking.
Oh, he's somebody that Florida's looking at?
Yeah.
Mose Phillips.
Virginia Tech.
He's got a crystal ball thingamabob, whatever they're calling it.
On a visit right now.
Recruiting prediction machine to Ole Miss.
He's on a visit right now. Ole Miss.
Mose Phillips.
Safety.
M-O-S-E Phillips.
Have recruited.
From Cane Ridge High School in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. 6'2", 185 pounds.
White Atlanta.
Was a 3-star. All right, guys, let's get into the game. Any more portal talk, any departure talk from coaching staff before we get into the Gasparilla Bowl? Are we winning 9 games next year? TBD will it's all, until we know what the roster looks like. It's hard to prognosticate.
Man, yes.
Yeah, okay, Corey.
Yes.
Lagway.
Talk to him, Jordan. Lagway era, baby. Roster intact. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we're going to get 9-10 wins, bro. Like, and that's minimum for me, bro. Like, they gotta see these hands. Everybody gotta see these hands. Slaughter's back. If I get Barber back, I'm ready to talk greasy. You know what I'm saying? But I like the roster.
You're
bro.
Ready to talk? That will get you ready to talk greasy, or you've not been greasy for the last.
Well, like he's talking about, like, obviously he's already greasy.
I've been pretty ridiculous on the timeline. I ain't gonna lie.
You've been back in your bag. You've been back in your metaphorical bag.
He's talking like
slowing down either.
All of the memes and videos.
Turnpike Diner in the Midwest kind of greasy is kind of greasy.
The sheer number of bookmarks and videos and memes that Corey's probably had to siphon through over the last couple of weeks has been nothing short of Jeremy Lin during 2 weeks of the NBA. I've
got to see the folder, Dan. He has to have these in a folder or some sort of organization, because
I don't know how
a team, a GIF for everything.
See what Elon did provide me with, like, an organization of bookmarks now with the blue check, so you can organize your bookmarks pretty good. And then on my phone, my son sends me little meme-ish things. I put them in separate folders and keep them tucked away, man. So it's fair. It's an organized operation. It's a good outfit.
I'm learning more and more about Corey. He may be the most organized person on this podcast, which is not
the most organized.
Probably had
that's what it means.
Shit, you
got to be able to get to them videos quick when it's, you can't be shuffling through everything.
Have things in your favorites or something, huh?
Yes, you got to have it organized to get to it quick, man. Quick reply. But the staff is doing a good job, bro. As far as, like, I would say the way they ended the season, you look at the roster. I felt good about the roster last year. So talent evaluation and just bringing in the guys, they've done a good job. I think we could compete with anybody and beat anybody we line up with. I don't care who it is. And the NIL has also brought a lot of parity just to football. A lot of teams feel that way these days, bro. But what's going to separate us, if you look at our schedule, we got our guy coming back. Everybody else don't have a quarterback. The one that does have a quarterback coming, that's LSU, and he is mid.
I do it all like that.
I saw Jordan's eyes just like stare off when he said Lagway. I had someone in Atlanta cracking up about Malik Zaires' sleeves, talking about Jordan going through the 47 different starting quarterbacks he had in his 3 years at Florida.
No Nussmeier is allowed to be successful in Gainesville. It's in the name. You know what I mean?
For real, though.
In the name. All right, guys, let's get into the Gasparilla Bowl. We're just going to run through this quickly. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall. Go visit alumnihall.com. I just did before this podcast started to get some gifts for the holiday season. So go check them out, alumnihall.com. I believe if you order today, or in the next couple of days. You can still get it shipped to you before the Christmas or Hanukkah time starts. So go check them out, alumnihall.com, or go visit them in Gainesville on Archer Road. Best selection of Florida Gators wear that you can imagine. So alumnihall.com or Alumni Hall on Archer Road. Let them know Stadium and Gale sent you. Gasparilla Bowl Friday at 3:30 in Tampa, Florida at Raymond James. Florida is 14-point favorites. The money line is minus 520 plus 415 for Tulane. Over under right now is 49.5. Heavy money on Florida right now. Guys, do want to do a quick announcement. Florida Victorious is doing a pregame watch party at Miller's Ale House right before the game. Pardon me. So go check that out. It's on the Florida Victorious website or board. The Ale House is a half a mile walk, less than a half a mile walk. It's on the corner of Columbus and Dale Mabry, which is kind of the beginning of the area right before the stadium. So if you're a Florida Victorious member, go check that out at Miller's Ale House. But guys, any thoughts on the game before we discuss it next week?
I think of the big focus early on was retention for guys next year, but also you're not seeing a lot of guys, obviously the guys like a Just Spoon, Jack Piber in the portal. You just didn't see a lot of that from Florida. Like Tulane's starting quarterback won't play
all
in the
three
game.
Quarterbacks are in the transfer portal.
But the backup quarterback who's in the portal will be playing in the bowl game.
Right. But all three quarterbacks are in the transfer portal.
That's crazy.
That's a tough spot.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot to be in as a program.
Lack of belief, man, because I would just stay right now if I was like one of them guys, right?
Like, what you doing? You just seen everybody leaving. Somebody got to take the snap.
Yeah, I'm just gonna vibe. Like the NIL check gotta go somewhere, baby. Like I'm just gonna sit here.
Flip Season said, the Ale House is just down the street from Odyssey. Odyssey is not open before the game. It will be open after the game if you're looking to go check out.
A strip club?
Sounds
it's
like one.
It's a gentleman's establishment. Yes.
Okay.
I believe they open at, I believe they open at 3:00, but don't hold me to that.
Jordan's reaction to that.
Right, nah, you don't got to say
right. And then after the game, you can meet 1/4 of Stadium and Gale over at Odyssey.
That's a fact. If I got shades on, leave me alone.
Leave me to my own devices. I thought it was I seen a quote from just reading the timeline as we was podding today from Tulane's head coach. He said, this is a playoff team. If Lagway was starting the full season, they was asking him about the Gators. So I thought that was very unique. He talking greasy for me a little bit, Dan.
I like that. Hey,
you just need to retweet. At that point, I don't even have to talk greasy. I just have to hit retweet.
Yeah, no, they got a good young coach that is going to be probably leaving Tulane next year. There's some speculation that his name was being thrown around with that UNC job, and he didn't necessarily decline it. But when Bill Belichick comes
on a QB, though,
give that a shot. But yeah, no, I mean they do have all three of their quarterbacks entering the transfer portal. I would imagine that at least one of them will come back. But you got to see what your options are, I guess. If your quarterback at Tulane.
Right, that's what I'm looking at. What else?
Quarterback coach is Will Smith right now, walking into the house in Bel Air, looking around, and there's no one there.
I'm telling you. But shout out to Ty Simpson not being a coward and playing the game.
Yeah, that's real. I appreciate his respect for the game like that, man. Like, come on.
I hope he has one good, meaningful play that he can put on tape. Other than that,
I want to
blowout.
Yeah.
You want his?
I want to see Teddy Foster pick 6, Ty Simpson. You know what I mean? That's where I want this game to be.
I think this is a game Florida should win. Obviously, Vegas thinks so. I think the chance you have, the momentum you've built over the last 3 weeks, you can absolutely blow that. You can roll a 7 by not showing up for the bowl game. So I think you have to go take care of business. From talking with Tyreek Sapp and Jake Slaughter and Caleb Banks, it seems like the thought on the team is we have one more opportunity to go play with this roster of guys. and that they're taking that seriously, and they don't want to go out the wrong way, because whether it's the portal or graduation or the NFL, this is the last opportunity you have to play with this group of guys that you've been working out with since January. And I think that means a lot to them. It's a really close group. We've talked about all year how they didn't quit. Some fans didn't like that, but how they didn't quit and how they kind of rallied around each other, rallied around their coach. So I think they're taking it seriously. It's more than just, a fun trip back to Tampa. Dan's favorite city in the world.
It's a great city, man.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree with Nick though, man. I just want them boys to have some good competitive practices. Make sure they letting the pads collide a little bit, not too much, but just stay healthy overall, man. I don't want no big time injuries to where we got problems going into next season. This team is not worth it to have those kind of big time injuries. But like you said, all these dudes are dogs, and I think everybody bleeds orange and blue over there. So I won't be surprised if dudes want to play it all the way out to have the last ride with their guys. So I'm just going to pray for them. Hopefully all our guys stay nice and healthy, get through it with a breeze, man. But overall, I want to put some good stuff on tape for next year so they know what we all about.
Yeah, I need 11 to go crazy. Right. E11, lag way to Mazzell. I need a lot of that. That's just going to throw some gas on my lives this off season.
You have the chance to win 8 games for the first time since 2020, which is hard to believe. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the biggest theme though is to remain undefeated since I took my new job.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hope the guys rally around that.
Well, what's nice about that, Nick, is if they are, you can say the Gators have been undefeated for 9 months heading into August. While you look Florida victorious, you know what I mean?
Maybe Mudkip Plays was right. I just need to be head coach.
Yeah, positive Nick. Shout out to Lauren. A bright star in a dull city. Lauren says positive Nick. Positive Nick. All right, gentlemen. The game is at 3:30 in Tampa. If you're going to go to the game, should be a beautiful day in Tampa. I think the high is in the low 70s. If you're going to be there, enjoy. Other than that, I think that takes us out of this week. Next week, we'll have
post-game Odyssey with Jordan Scarlett. But if the sunglasses are on, leave them alone.
Yeah, meet me by the DJ booth with the shades off, though. We vibing, y'all boys.
And we may do a pop-up on Wednesday.
Yeah,
do a pop-up with a player on Wednesday, man. Stay tuned. We'll let y'all know on the X app.
I might just walk over to the hotel. It's right there, and just kind of see who's in the lobby hanging out, and just bring them over and powwow on my couch here.
Well, investigative journalism. Go to Odyssey and see who's there. Let me know what players you see out enjoying the nightlife, and maybe we'll make some bets on Friday.
Oh,
okay. All right. I'll do some investigative journalism. You do some investigative journalism around Tampa. See who's out causing a ruckus and causing a stir.
Big J Dan. Who's at AMSO, Dan? Who's there?
AMSO is literally right across the street from their hotel.
Oh, that's bad.
That's not.
They're set up
an
for
ideal
failure.
Circumstance.
Set up for failure.
What's that club?
Or success. Depends on how you view it.
Asia or something like that. I think one of them little clubs are called.
Asia, no, bro. Asia closed after Chris Brown punched that girl. Yeah.
Oh Lord, that used to be the spot though when I used to come to Tampa. That's what we would slide to.
Yeah, no, definitely. I never went to Asia, Jordan. You know why? But
for sure.
No, that closed about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
Well, why would that be, Dan?
It was a whole lot of roast beef and melanin in there.
Yeah, a lot of melanin. That's right. That's right. Oh man, take them to Mons, not Odyssey. Lauren, I'm not taking anybody to either of those establishments. I would like my Gators to win. I'm not taking
Lauren out of pocket. Lauren is out of pocket.
There's a lot of you guys know about Mons in this chat. Go see.
I thought this was a family show.
Yeah, for a reason.
This is a family show.
I think somebody's keeping them open.
Somebody's now going to have to tell their son who's listening to the show on their way to school, Dad, what do you know about Mons Venus?
Don't let your mom hear this, but fine establishment.
I knew you were great. She's from Tampa. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry that you're stuck where you are. All right, guys. Song of the week. Who's got song of the week this week?
I went last week, so I don't know what the rotation is.
I think it's me. I'll figure it out after the show. Well, no, I'm going to go to my Spotify Wrapped here. Let's see.
Beep, boop, bop.
What's a song that I listened to that I liked this year? How about a little Zach Top? Sounds like the radio. All right, that's a good one.
Sounds like the radio.
Yeah, it's country music, Jordan. They didn't play it at Asia.
At all.
Yeah, this is more of a 8 seconds.
I give it a spin though. I can listen to some.
Give it a
country.
spin. All right.
Yeah, on the early Saturday, Sunday, I bump some country for a little bit.
Hell yeah! All right, guys. Well, we'll see you at the same corner. I'll be at the game on Friday. I think I'll be the only one. Well, Nick, you'll be there as well. So if you're out there, come hang out, come say hello. Other than that, we'll see you guys same corner, same time next week, and potentially on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Go Gators.
Go Gators.